Hey y'all, welcome back to MillennialTheraMom. Today we're going to be talking about money. It is Financial Literacy Month, April, and I know money can be triggering for a lot of people, and that's why I want to make sure that this conversation is gentle and compassionate because money already carries so much weight. So before we even jump into this episode, I want you to just take a deep breath, release, and think about where did you learn about money? What messages did you learn about money? And maybe even what was the relationship with money that your parents had? And then now that you've been reflecting a little bit about your own stuff, I want you to think about, especially if you're a parent or if you have some type of influence, around other children, your own children, whether it's nephews, nieces, lo que sea, what kind of relationship with money do I want them to have? What kind of stories do I want them to have about money? And I ask this because I know that doing the work, doing the hard work, as I call it, can be hard, right? That's what we talk about. But when we think about generations, it can be easier to give yourself compassion and also to push you to action. So when I think about the past generations, right, just understanding, okay, the past generations before me navigated money like this, or I'm, for example, first gen, so I'm a daughter of immigrants. My mom managed money the way that she best knew how to do in this country, but there were still a lot of things that were not taught to her, not known to her. And even myself, I'm a US citizen and I've been in this country all my life, but when I think about the classes I took for finances, it was always like random economics class, and it's not I don't think that my teachers were intentionally trying to keep information. I just think that the way that school and education was laid out was like, yeah, this is what you learn. But unfortunately, I went through undergrad, I went through grad school not knowing about money. So I just want to first normalize that it's okay if you're a first generation trying to figure out like what am I supposed to do with my money? What is actually important, what is not. Just know that we're in the same boat and we're all like trying to go towards the same direction, towards healthier relationships with money, towards abundance and more. And then the second part I think about is, especially as a mama now, and I have a 2.5-year-old almost, I think about what do I want her to know about money? How do I want to get her set up for money in the future? One small example that I always thought was so interesting is that when I went to college, there were classmates whose parents paid for their college, and I always was like, that's interesting. Like, why would parents pay for their kids' college? And then the older I got, and the more people I met, the more I realized, like, oh, it's actually pretty common for parents to set up something for their kids for college. Another example is around life insurance, right? Like, that's something that just full disclosure, I never really knew it was a thing until, we got married and then we started talking about if something were to happen to my husband, if something were to happen to me, like how life insurance can help. I'm obviously not a financial professional, so take this all as a mental health educator. But for me, I was like, oh, snap, I didn't even think about that because I come from a community where if somebody passes away, like you do a GoFundMe or other ways to get money, right? But I didn't think about how would it look like to intentionally plan for a loss like that. And I know that loss can be scary, like death can be scary for a lot of us, but realistically speaking, all of us are going to pass one day. And just even thinking about that, like, okay, on top of the finances, now I also have to process the grief when in reality, there are strategies that we can put in place so that maybe all the finances are taken care of. We know exactly what pot of money we're going to use. People are going to be set up, and I really can focus on just the grief and the emotional part. So, all that to say that there's so many dynamics, so many different like scenarios and situations that as human beings we will find ourselves facing, but at least having the tools of financial education can be really healing for generations. And as with mental health work, right, noticing patterns that were healthy and not healthy, the same thing can happen within our relationship with money, within our financial health. So I speak about holistic mental health, which is our relationship. our relationships and our mindset and our behaviors and all that around different areas of our lives, like our finances, our emotions, our mental, our spiritual, our physical, and more, right? So, in the same way, we can think about financial health as one pillar of our health. And financial health includes the way that we think about money, the way that we connect with money. Do we avoid it? Do we just say, like, don't talk about it? Or do we face it and say, hey, it's just money. This is the plan that we're going to do. And I truly want holistic health for all of y'all. So I'm going to share a few things that might be keeping us stuck that I had written down, as well as a few gentle shifts. And then I'm going to invite y'all to some things this month. So some things that might be keeping us stuck is avoidance, right? I'll deal with it later, which if you know, you know, there's always going to be something else that's going to fill your time. So avoidance is a big one. Shame, right? I should know this already. I call this the shitting yourselves. And as we probably also know, that doesn't actually help us push us towards momentum in the direction that we want to go. There's overwhelm right now, knowing where to start. It's too much. I'm already too behind. And then there's cultural pressures like if we live in a society where it's spend, 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 then investing or putting money away for your future might not seem like the cool thing to do, right? The cool thing to do right now is go take a vacation. And I'm not saying don't take that vacation, but there is a balance between, okay, I'm going to take my vacation and I'm also preparing for future me. So, a few gentle shifts that we can think about is first, just notice your patterns without judging yourself. If you've been listening to this and you're like, yeah, I've been avoiding my money or I don't know where to start, just be self compassionate as we talk about and say, all right, it makes sense. Maybe I wasn't modeled this. Maybe I haven't had the support, whatever it is however that sounds like to give yourself that grace. Secondly, take a small aligned action, right? We don't need perfection. We don't need big movements. It's all about baby steps. So maybe after listening to this, you end up registering for a free class or scheduling a financial education meeting, whatever it might look like, just small baby steps. And community support. So that's kind of related to the small line actions, but knowing that, you know, there's people like me, people like my husband, people like other partners that we have who love talking about financial education and mental health and who are creating spaces to learn alongside each other, especially when it comes to generational work. Know that you're not the only one doing this work. So I appreciate you watching this short video and just learning a little bit more about finances and how when we face our finances, we're really doing generational work. So be gentle with yourself as you unpack patterns and as you create new patterns for the generations moving forward. And I want to invite y'all to a free Building Generational Wealth webinar that is going to be happening on Saturday, April 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific. You can also catch the replay if it is after that date. It should still be available on my groundedmotherhood.com. You should be able to access it there. Otherwise, you can email me hello@connectwithjaylee.com. Or you can also get that information and education by meeting with my husband, who is a financial educator. I'll put his information here, but you go to howmoneyworks.com/LLEE. I also want to invite y'all to follow me along on Instagram at MillennialTheraMom, MillennialTheraMom, Theramom, as I'll be speaking more around finances and just other things we got going on this month around our holistic mental health. Thank you for watching. I appreciate if you could hit that subscribe and share it with somebody who could benefit from this information because we never know. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to this conversation. I want to encourage you to keep nurturing yourself and your journey in motherhood or to share it with the mama that you know. First of all, I would love if you could subscribe or follow along to the Millennial TheraMom podcast, Instagram, and YouTube channel to show your love, to show your support, and to make sure this information gets out to all mamas and new parents. Secondly, definitely go ahead and grab your free Grounded Motherhood guide at MillennialTheraMom.com/free resource, or you can just look at the tabs on the website. Check out the Escuelita, our virtual learning community, also on MillennialTheraMom.com. And last but not least, you can explore the Grounded Motherhood Tiendita for cafecito links and few more goodies that are coming out soon, including a Spanglish poetry and journal. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you continue to nurture yourself and ground in your motherhood. Cuídense.